Hello, everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And we are here for the first time in a while to talk about a Carolina Panthers victory.
Sweet Caroline. I don't even know if we want to do that right now. It feels like a win, but a loss at the same time.
I know. We'll definitely get into that. And we'll get into what some of the coaches and players have said about that here in a little bit. But Carolina Panthers do defeat the Washington football team 20-13 in Washington. The first time Ron Rivera has faced his old team and couldn't let him clinch that playoff spot just yet. So Panthers looked great in certain aspects of the game today, looked, mediocre in others.
They looked like a lot better team than Washington today. In Washington.
For sure.
This game didn't even feel really in question at all. I know it ended up being a one-score game, but
well, it had to be because it's a Panthers game. So.
Yeah.
But we will kick it off this week, as we always do, talking about the three key plays of the game.
All right, we're going to go ahead and start off. First quarter, 4th and 10 at Carolina 44. Carolina goes ahead, punts the ball. Washington football team muffs the punt. Brandon Zylstra recovers the ball in the end zone for a touchdown. Panthers go up 6-0. That was just, the game was kind of a defensive battle. Like no one could really get anything. And then, that muff punt, and it just went straight back to the end zone, and Zylstra jumped on it.
Yeah.
Recovered.
Yeah. Panthers at that point, I think, had recovered a league-leading 14 fumbles. They were number one in the league. So that's just, that's a great part of this Panthers team, is just ability to capitalize on turnovers. And you're right, that up to that point, the game had been pretty ho-hum, honestly. Yeah. And that sort of opened the floodgates for the Panthers.
Yeah. Now, moving on to our second play of the game, second quarter, 1st and 10 at Carolina's 49. Curtis Samuel runs the ball to the right side to Washington's 6-yard line, 45 yards. And that ended up ending drive, ended in a Mike Davis touchdown. It was just shortly after that Zylstra touchdown. Then Curtis Samuel breaks off this big one, which I know you and I felt like running the ball. We've been waiting for this to happen because he's come close many times.
Yeah. And today, finally, several weeks after I predicted it, he did lead the team in rushing, finally. And he would have led the team in rushing, I think, off just that one run today.
Yeah.
So nice job there. Curtis Samuel had a great day. We'll talk about him in a bit.
Yeah. And our last third key play of the game, second quarter, after a 17-yard pickup by Washington, 1st and 10 at Washington's 44. Dwayne Haskins passed short right for Logan Thomas. Tahir Whitehead intercepts the ball. Horrible in pass defense, but he climbed the escalator. He got it, came down with it. Nice actual pick. And then off that pick, we drove the length of the field, scored a touchdown, up 20-0. And that was pretty much the game at that point.
That was it. I tweeted out, Tahir Whitehead continues to disappoint when he got that interception, because it's no secret, Panthers fans, that the Panthers would have been well suited to lose this game in order to keep their draft position, actually to improve in their draft position, which we'll talk about here soon. But nice job to hear Whitehead it was a nice interception.
It was.
Got up for it. He was in great position.
He was playing Dwayne Haskins. He got into that little zone. He played the ball great.
It was a really nice play for Tahir. And that's the first time we've said that all season. Dwayne Haskins is a bad quarterback.
Absolutely horrible.
I don't know if he's even going to be on a team next year. I think he's going to be one of those guys that just floats around practice squads and gets in a game here and there, and just, he's just not a good quarterback.
He just looked awful. He looked lost and awful out there. It was really sad because, again, we were trying to hope for, a loss to be the third pick in the draft. And I saw Dwayne Haskins out there playing, and I was like, wow, there's no way we can lose to this guy. This guy is just awful.
Yeah, well, let's get into it a little bit. Well, we might as well start with Dwayne Haskins because he was bad. He went 14 of 28, 154 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and lost a fumble. He was pulled, was it midway through the third quarter for Taylor Heineke. Old Panther fans know Taylor Heineke. And Taylor Heineke looked fine. 12
Oh,
of 19,
absolutely.
137, and a touchdown.
I think if Heineke would have started, they would have actually had a chance to win. I'm not
I
going to
agree.
lie. He looked sharper with his passage, a little bit more decisive with his running.
He was way in more control and seemed way more confident. Now it was sort of garbage time. The Panthers were playing that soft defense zone, run out the clock defense, which they should have been at that time. I mean, they're up 2 scores. But yeah, I mean, I thought Heineke looked way better than Haskins. It'll be interesting to see if Alex Smith is not healthy next week, who starts.
I don't think there's much of a question. I think Dwayne
I think
Haskins is
agree.
done.
Yeah. On the Panthers side, Teddy B, 19 of 28, 197 yards, a touchdown and interception, and also lost a fumble. I didn't think Teddy looked very good today.
Nope.
In most cases, he did have a nice deep throw. He actually threw the ball deep several times, connected on one to Curtis Samuel, but overall was not impressed with Teddy.
No, I wasn't either. I did notice it felt like a conscious effort on third down. He threw it past the sticks almost every time, unless the first third down I saw it was a screen pass, but that's his call, you know?
Yeah.
Everything else I've noticed all third downs, he was trying to force it. I don't know if someone finally got into his ear to try to start making those throws deeper or what.
Yeah. He took a couple of bad sacks as well, where it seemed like he was waiting for the play to develop, where normally he might have dumped it off early. So I think that is something that he is working on, and good, because on third down, especially, or fourth down, you definitely want to go past the sticks. Rushing the ball, we already talked about Curtis Samuel, but he did end up with 7 total carries for 52 yards. Mike Davis was 14 for 28 and 1 touchdown. Never seemed like he could get it going today. Rodney Smith, 7 for 23. And then Teddy and Alex Arma had a couple of rushes each. Any thoughts on the rushing game? It seemed like Washington has a pretty stout rush defense. And other than that one Curtis Samuel run, nothing much happened.
We had a whole drive that was nothing but runs.
Yeah.
It was a 10-run touchdown drive. It was just, I think in the second half, we could not run the ball, and that's kind of skewed the averages down. Because I actually made a note at the end of the first half. I was like, we have 16 runs to 18 passes at this point. I go, and we're up 20-0.
Yeah, you're right. There was a whole touchdown drive,
so
nothing but runs.
It was finally looking like they wanted to commit to the run game. And this was before the big lead. Obviously, when you have the big lead, you want to stick to it. Although sometimes the Panthers didn't. And I was like, this is what they need to do. This is what they've needed to do half the season. Why now? Why now when we want them to lose?
Yeah, and even the final box score, 35 runs to 28 passes, which I don't know for certain, but I think that's, if not the first time that the Panthers have done that all season, it's one of the first. Receiving wise, Curtis Samuel, he led the team in rushing. He also led the team in receiving. 5 receptions, 106 yards. He had a long of 44. So he had a 45-yard rush and a 44-yard reception. Nice day for him. Robbie Anderson, 7 for 39, 1 touchdown. DJ Moore, 5 for 37. And Roddy Smith had a couple of catches for 15 yards. So only 4 receivers or 4 players caught a pass from Teddy in this game. Wasn't really spreading the ball around much.
No. And look, this is my thing. Look at Robbie Anderson, 7 catches, 39 yards. His long was 14. You take that 1 touchdown pass play where he caught it like 5-6 yards and took it the rest. That's 6 receptions for 25 yards.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he's been doing that a lot lately. They're not stretching him much at all recently.
I mean, you gotta get these guys a little bit deeper, man. I get controlling the ball through the passing game, but you gotta force it down a little bit more. Teddy Bridgewater after this game said he thought that the team wanted to win a complete game for Matt Rule. The offense didn't play well.
This wasn't a complete game.
Teddy Bridgewater, you had an interception, a lost fumble, and another fumble.
Right.
That was not a complete game from you at all.
Exactly.
Not over 200-yard passing.
I would have liked to have seen them target Curtis Samuel more. I mean, he only had 5 targets.
Yeah.
Had 5 receptions for 106 yards. I mean, imagine if you'd have targeted him 10 times like you did Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. He might have had 150 yards. He seemed to be able to do whatever he wanted out there.
Yeah.
Defensive wise, Shaq Thompson led the team in tackles with 9. Jeremy Chin had 8. Quiet game for Jeremy Chin. Had a penalty, and
it was actually one of his worst games I've witnessed lately. A couple penalties, he wasn't flying around like he normally does. And unfortunately, it was a game that, Chase Young had a really nice game.
Right.
In the defensive rookie campaign.
Seems like Chase Young probably locked up the defensive rookie of the year. In a lot of people's eyes, he probably already had it wrapped up, but in a head-to-head game against your main competitor, he looked a lot better. So unfortunate for Jeremy Chin. Trey Boston had a nice game, 7 tackles and an interception. Also a nice interception for him. And then let's see, anybody else that we wanted to kind of talk about?
Dante Jackson had another great game.
Yeah, Dante Jackson had a great game.
Since he's come back from that injury, he's looked really nice. He can't. He's a guy to kind of build around in that secondary if he sticks around.
Yeah, he's hurt most of the year with that toe, and he seems like he's finally healthy now as the season winds to a close. I thought Derek Brown looked good today. Only 1 tackle on the stat sheet, but he had a couple of pass deflections and he hit the quarterback one time. So
Brian Burns, another great game.
Yeah,
I mean, injured, he still had a great game.
That's what I was gonna say. He came in a little hurt. He kind of was in and out of the game a little bit here and there, but it ended up with a sack.
Pass deflection, a QB hit.
Pass deflection, yep. Marquise Haynes and Gross Matos also ended up with a sack each. So 3 sacks for the Panthers today. Let's see. I do want to give a shout out to our punter, Charlton.
Mm-hmm.
Great game for the punter. 5 punts, all 5 within the 20-yard line.
Yeah, he was secretly a hidden gem this year.
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking today that, once the season's over, you and I we'll do a podcast and we'll talk about, some surprises and things like that. He's been a definite surprise and a welcome one.
Mm-hmm.
Going over to Washington, we talked about Haskins, Heineke. We actually talked about both quarterbacks. Antonio Gibson came back from injury in this game, looked good, 10 carries, 61 yards. They just didn't run the ball much, being down 20-0 at halftime. Yeah,
they were. I know they were down 20-3, but I felt like if they kept running the ball, they had something there, and then they would abandon the run and go 3 straight passes, and then off the field they go. I was like,
especially with Haskins at quarterback, he's not getting it done. And Antonio Gibson he's a very good rookie running back. So J.D. McKissick 4 for 15, and Tyler Heineke when he came in 3 for 22. Looking at receiving for them, 8 receptions for J.D. McKissick, 77 yards and a touchdown. Had that touchdown towards the end of the game with Jeremy Chin kind of following him into the end zone.
That was an impressive catch, by the way.
Yeah, very good catch. All right, it's time to talk heroes and zeros. Jerry, I'll let you kick it off today with the heroes. No, let's start with the zeros.
On my zeros, I'm going to give it to Dwayne Haskins. Nah. He deserves one, though.
He does.
For the Panthers, I'm going to give it to Joey Sly. He missed the first point extra. He almost missed the second one. The Panthers, on their first drive, went down, got a 4th down, and it would have been a 52-yard kick. And instead, Matt Rule decided to go for it. I think Matt Rule doesn't have confidence in Joey Sly, and he has struggled. And I feel like that's why we didn't go for that field goal there. There's just not a confidence in him.
Yeah, he's only made 1 50-yard kick all season. So
I'm giving him the 0. It was a tough game to give anybody a 0 on this team.
Yeah.
So that's who I went with.
No, I can get down with that. And I think this might be Joey's last year with the Panthers, unfortunately. I'm going with Mike Davis. I have not been impressed with Mike Davis for several weeks now. I know a lot of that is lack of opportunity because the Panthers have decided they don't want to run the ball. But I think some of that is because they're just not, Mike Davis just isn't making big plays, not making things happen.
Yeah.
He only had an average of 2 rushes or 2 yards per rush today. He did get the touchdown, which is nice, but no catches for him out of the backfield, not even a target. So I'm going with Mike Davis as my 0.
Yeah, Rodney Smith looked better than him today.
Yeah,
pure and
I
simple.
agree. I think that's been the case for the last couple of weeks. All right, let's go heroes, and I'll let you start this one off as well.
It's going to be, Curtis Samuel.
Yeah.
Led the team in receiving and rushing. Great job.
Yeah.
I mean, he's I'm going to miss if we can't re-sign him next year.
I agree. So, and he might have made himself some money over the last few weeks, really since about like week 5 or 6. He's just been one of the most consistent Panthers out there. So yeah, do the right thing, guys. Like, try to re-sign him if you can.
We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read the comment on the show.
All right, everybody, keep your head up. Stay safe out there. Keep pounding.